Greetings, goddesses. It is time to talk astrology and wisdom for February, but first, a little music. You ready? Hey, I'm a piano. Come on, South Africa. Hey, happy Black History Month. Happy Black History Month. Got some interesting things we're going to talk about today. Want y'all to feel it. Hey, music is good to and for the soul. Nice. All right. It's a little mellow right here, so I guess I'll start taking it down. I hope I can keep bringing it down because it might drop another beat. You know what I mean? But we're gonna talk astrology. Come on, y'all. Let's do it. Hey, I told you. Ooh, all righty. Come on, y'all. Let's do this. Baby, I'm a spiritual guide, astrologer, and DJ. Oh, huh? How y'all doing? I am Tara Omilade, your goddess guru, your sister friend. And you know I love helping women align with their life purpose using the power of ancient wisdom and the goddess-centered lifestyle. So happy to be here and talk a little bit about this month's astrology. I have a whole new arrangement, and I always feel like I'm just trying to get closer to this microphone. But anywho, I want to talk about the astrology. I did a really cool reading. I was like, it's Black History Month. What can I do? Oh, pull from my one of my newer decks, the Black Tarot, an Ancestral Awakening guidebook. Love, love, love this deck. And I'm pulling from the African Goddess Rising deck. But we're going to talk about astrology. Okay. I'm going to take these off. I forgot to. I have to just check sound. I have to do all kinds of things just to make sure the recording is here for you all and it's up to par. Got to make sure the edges are okay. As a 50 plus woman, I got to make sure they are okay. All right. So, anywho, greetings to everyone who is always here to the G Hive. G stands for goddess. And just so happy to always connect with you all. I will be going live for the most part every Wednesday at 9:15 a.m. Eastern time. And when I say for the most part, I'm like, sometimes things just kind of come up or, and I can't. But in general, tune in on Wednesday with me. So that, we're all live and we're communing with each other and connecting. If you get my email newsletter, you can also join the Inspired Goddess community, my Mighty Next Networks community. It's just us there. All right. To everyone who is new, welcome, welcome, welcome. We are a community, as I said, Goddess, Body, Mind, Spirit. We are all things goddess. We are honoring women. We are honoring the great divine feminine within and without. Yeah, we love using things like our intuition and connecting with the ancestors and our guides and loving ourselves and self-care. That's what I'm all about. It's all about you living in alignment with your truth, you living in alignment with your destiny and your purpose. That's what I'm here to support you in. Okay. And the rest of the community is too. So everyone's hashtag replay queens. So thank you all to all of the hashtag replay queens. And also, I'll show you this really quickly. I created Astrology and Alignment. It's an ebook, a guide to thriving in 2025. I will put this link inside of my my newsletter every week for at least the next couple of months. So if you want the e-zine version, make sure you're on my email newsletter list because you'll be able to get it there. Otherwise, there's a link in the description box and you can download it, which I say do both. I love the way the e-zine looks. It's just so pretty. And I love books, so you could just turn the pages, right? But if you download it, then you will have it forever on your own, your own drive, right? So you can just check the link in the description box. And you can also see down below in my ticker tape, I have started my membership back up again. It's very affordable. I create so much like astrology videos and different tools that I know will help the ladies who are in my coaching program. And I'm like, I feel like it's almost robbery to just create it and share it with a few people. So I want to share them with you. And it's the last thing I uploaded was the new moon video. And also, upcoming is going to be the Venus retrograde, Mercury retrograde, all that kind of good stuff. So just consider joining it. You can check it out, link in the description box. So I want to just talk about, thank you all for letting me share that. Let me just do that. Sometimes we want to kind of get through that fast, but I also want to say thank you for letting me share what I have to offer and for you considering joining me. Oh, so let's look at the astrology for February. It's actually really intriguing because we're starting this month off. There's a lot of Piscean energy that we are navigating right now because we have Venus there, Neptune is there, the North Node is there, and Mercury and the Sun will eventually come into Pisces. Also, Saturn is in Pisces. So Pisces is very heightened energy, and it's not unusual for there to be, say, for instance, Saturn and the Sun and Mercury in a sign. Um, or sometimes even like planets like Saturn and Mercury, they're both in the same, I mean, Saturn and Neptune, they're both in the same sign. It might be Jupiter with a different one of those planets or whatever. But this is it's a little bit special. It's a little bit special because it isn't all the time Saturn is going to be with Neptune, right? It takes decades for them to meet each other again. So there's something new on the horizon because we have a lot of energy that is more of like new beginnings energy. And Pisces is this energy that is all about dissolution. It's about releasing and letting things go. It's a sign to a certain degree that is about liberation, but it's not like I'm fighting for my liberation. It's more of you just get loosed from it. You get released from it. There's this energy around surrender. Aquarius is more of like I am fighting for my liberation, and Pisces is more of, you know, it's more of like I release and I let go, and this great release happens. It's the last sign of the zodiac, and so it's really and truly sort of related to death. It can definitely be a sign where there's a lot that is purged. People are let go of, or they go back to the ancestral realm. It's actually a sign that allows us to commune with the ancestors. And with all of this energy being there, I wonder how thin is the veil? How many of us are really hearing from the ancestors or communing with, feeling like there's something that we are hearing from or connecting to, but we can't quite see it. We can't touch it. Pisces is a sign that has to do with things unseen. It's also a sign that has to do with compassion and caring about other people. I have to honestly say that, for me, as someone who only has been studying and sharing astrology for about 8 years now. Um, this has been like, I'm a Pisces. I'm born into the sign of Pisces. It's artsy, it's spiritual. It is truly a sign where there can be healing, and it's a little bit of a good feeling because you get to tune out. Like, it's related to the islands. Pisces is a sign of the islands because the islands are far out and you just get away. It has this healing energy around it. It being a Pisces, I've always been so like, I love being a Pisces. It's this energy of checking out, and it's the energy of escapism. It's, on the darker side, it's the energy of addiction. It's the energy where people have mental health challenges. It is also related to delusions, illusions. On the positive side of illusions, it's movies, and it's things that are like fantasy. And, on the artsy side, it's music. So many people who make great music are Pisces or have something in their astrological chart that is Pisces like. So, it has its pluses and its minuses. And right now, your girl Tyra is feeling like it's just a lot of minuses coming through. And I think for everybody, this is a time where, like Pisces, this is something that I want y'all to know. Those of us who are Pisces have to learn something. We have to learn that you don't really have control over everything. The best thing you can do as a Pisces is to go do something nice, loving, and kind for somebody else. And you have to have this unshakable knowing and faith that spirit has your back. And so, in that regard, that is what I think is the medicine of this transit. Like, where is your faith in the divine? Where is your faith in that unseen power? Even if you don't if you're kind of like agnostic, and it's hard for me to imagine that there's atheists watching this, but there's still something higher that people who don't really subscribe too much to a higher being, there is definitely this higher energy. It's a higher intelligence, however you want to look at it, but it's like you've got to have your faith in that. And it's the energy of surrender in the knowing that everything is working in your favor. So, in that regard, that's the lesson that I think is important for everyone to take away. The compassion piece, I say offer yourself compassion more than anything, and be the change you wish to see. Offer compassion to people in the world, however that looks for you. Um, but right now, I just feel like this energy of Pisces is due for a renewal. And that's something that we're going to be experiencing most of February is this renewal energy. Pisces is going to get to like reset. Now, this energy of Pisces really highlights water. It highlights all things water because this is a water sign. We have Neptune, which is the ocean in the sign of Pisces. And then just all this energy is there. All the planets. When I say all this energy is there, it's just so many planets that will be passing through. Then also, to be honest with you, Mercury and Venus are going to retrograde back into Pisces. They're again highlighting the energy of this sign, the themes of this sign. And so I just want y'all to understand this is like the tone of the month for you to really play around with and see what it looks like for you. I encourage you to go out of your way to take care of yourself. Take time to pull back when you need to pull back. Meditation, working with the subconscious mind, just taking that time to be quiet. I even say music therapy, watching healing movies. And it's not that these movies are about healing, but when you watch them, it makes you feel healed up. Like, I love watching Moana. I love watching The Princess and the Frog. I love watching movies like that. For some reason, I love Drumline right now too. I just have to turn it on and it just calms me down. It just feels like home for me, right? But anywho, things that make you feel softer and held. Those are the kinds of things you can do all types of artsy things, healing things, spiritual things with this energy in Pisces. and be open to something new happening, even though it could be, and I'm telling y'all, we're gonna be really dealing with this until easily May, June. Okay. This is that we it's like heightening right now, but we'll be dealing with this for several months now. And so you just want to begin to make sure that you're understanding that these are the tones, these are the themes that will be heightened for you, and how can you use them to support you. Oh, and I was talking about the water. So Neptune, things around water. Now Saturn is there, which is to me a little bit of the caveat, because Saturn is it wants structure, or it wants, like, Pisces is boundless, and Saturn is like, stop being boundless, Pisces. Okay, I'm gonna need you to put some boundaries around some things. And so that's why a little bit of the disappointment. I'm wondering, as much as I love Saturn for Pisces, because Pisces can be this really fluid energy. It's just out there. Pisces aren't getting anything done, right? Because Pisces are just checked out. And so Saturn is like, nope, you got a plan. We're getting you a plan. You need to follow this plan, right? And it's sobering energy. It's like, get real. Stop living in the um under this illusion. I do appreciate Saturn for that, but by the same token, it could be pinching off compassion. It could be making us less compassionate. And Saturn is going to move into Aries, so we can test and see, well, what is it like when Saturn isn't in Pisces? But I do feel like there's something around an ending that is in full effect, lack of compassion, and then maybe, as we start just having more of these new beginning type meetings between the planets and the nodes, then it's like a new wave will kick in. But, there's some, maybe for some people they're dealing with drought, because I know that was one thing that was happening out in California. But there are themes that will be all around water, and maybe water restrictions and rules and regulations, which, it's hard for me to believe. Maybe rules and regulations around water will be disintegrated, because Saturn is going to meet with Pluto. I mean, Neptune at some point, but they're actually meeting in Aries. But anywho, um, just don't be surprised if there's topics around weather patterns that involve a lot of precipitation, or like weird encounters out on the ocean, bringing in, you know, weather patterns from there, or, natural things happening with I don't want to say natural, the D word, happening, on the ocean. So these are the things that I want you all to be thinking about. So, we're gonna have some planets going direct. We've had Jupiter retrograde, and, excuse me, Mars retrograde. So Jupiter has been retrograde since October, and now it's going direct. I'm gonna pull up the chart really quickly. So Jupiter is in Gemini, and it's been retrograde. It started, I think, at the 21st degree of Gemini, and now it's at 11 of Gemini. And so there's been something that we are revisiting. So first of all, Jupiter retrograde means that the actual energy, Jupiter and Mars retrograde, the actual energy of those planets have been weak. It's like planets need time to rest, and the slower, the bigger the planet, the more it's out from the sun, they retrograde longer on a regular basis. But the strength of the planet is heightened when it's about to go retrograde, and then when it's about to go forward again. So we will feel a heightened energy around all things Jupiterian. Jupiter is all about the truth. It's about wisdom. It's the law. It's about growth, expand. It actually has to do with children and other cultures. It's oftentimes connected with other cultures, because, when you connect with another culture, you expand yourself beyond your own culture. So, yeah. So these are things that it's like it's going to come back online. The last several months, what we've been doing is working on our inner Jupiter. When the planet is retrograde, when a planet is invisible, is another thing a planet can be. The work must be done within you. So it's kind of like use this week to look at where have you grown over the last 5 months or so. And is it 5 months? 4 or 5 months. And maybe also open yourself up to like what is the wisdom for you to follow and moving forward. So there will be some societal shifts. We all know that the media in the United States, I don't know about other places, but there's definitely been, you know, a fixation for me and a lot of people on the US media, which it's kind of like, yeah, we've known that the media has been out of whack for actually decades, but it's been really bad, I think, my opinion, over the last year. It was like Jupiter really showed us just how skewed the media is. So I think that with Jupiter moving direct, there'll be something around the media. And I want y'all to understand something. Gemini is the media. That's why I'm talking about the media. We're going to have Uranus move into Gemini. The media, the press, that whole industry is about to receive an overhaul. I just kind of feel like, you got to get to the end. It's just like what we were talking about with Pisces and this Neptune. There's something around endings, and y'all will be surprised. I think at one of the cards that I pulled, I have to look at it again, but there is this energy around it's the Odu. I pulled an Odu. As a matter of fact, let me just tell you what this Odu says. I pulled the Odu. It's called Oyeku. And when I pulled it, I was like, really? Y'all gave me Oyeku? Okay. I use my cowrie shells to get this. First and foremost, you want to work with your. I'm gonna hold on one second. Let me just pause this for a minute. It helps me to create the chapters when I do it this way. So, Oyeku. First and foremost, it's important for you to work with your ancestors of light all month long, and just take this forward. And what you want to do is, what will happen is you will receive their wisdom, their support, and their protection. This is very important, what I'm about to say. You may feel blocked, but accept that blockages could indicate safeguards. That is one of the most comforting things around this particular transit for me, or this particular Odu for me. Sometimes it's like, you know what, I feel blocked, but sometimes blocks are safeguards. Also, Oyeku indicates shredding that which is no longer needed. Transformation and transition based on life cycles may be experienced. But listen to this. Just know that prosperity is yours to be had by working with the natural order of things. And I think that that's really important, is understanding that especially this thing with Neptune, and we're going to have so many planets moving. Like, we've already had Pluto move into Aquarius, and I think that Pluto in Aquarius is shaking things up, and it's creating like this initial disintegration. It didn't come in hot like I was hoping it was going to come in. It's like, no, the collective, I'm going to meet the collective where the collective is, and we're going to start disintegrating from there. And then from there, it's like the Phoenix rising, right? We have Neptune and Saturn. They're going to move into Aquarius. Uranus is moving into Gemini, and later this year, Jupiter will move into Cancer. So it's a lot of energy of endings moving into new beginnings. And when we work with the natural order of things, this is where prosperity comes from. And so it's like this energy of trusting and figuring out what you're supposed to do. All right. For me, when we are working with what I call the goddess centered lifestyle, yeah, there's this energy of the feminine, which is more receptive, but there's no real goddess, energy without action. Right. So Figure out what is it that you need to do as you are, having to surrender. And by the same token, figure out what are the things you're supposed to do. This is why we're working with the ancestors. Patience is needed, as it may be that you see an increase over a period of time. Oyeku reminds us that all things return to their source and that nothing lasts forever. And it represents that which lies just beyond one's field of vision. So it's important for us to understand, I was talking about um the press. I think so much that is happening right now is all about it's like it gets worse before it gets better. And, I have a friend, she lives in South Africa, and she was like, y'all are just kind of being exposed to what we always live here. But may everybody in the world take advantage of Pluto and Aquarius. May everyone in the world take advantage of this opportunity for us to, work with the astrology in a conscious manner and working with the cycles. There's this a lot of energy of surrender right now, but also trusting that there is a higher infinite plan, intelligence in action. And the more we work with it and are intentional and aware, then I think that it just makes life easier. Okay. So also what we're going to have is Mars is going to go direct. So Jupiter's going to go direct. Now, other things that Jupiter direct could indicate is it's maybe people's mental health will feel better. Belief systems need to be expanded. So it's kind of like maybe people have been able to see while Jupiter was retrograde, all the ways that we've had limiting beliefs. And now we're going to feel like or understand, oh, I need a greater understanding of these limiting beliefs. Another thing that I do equate Gemini to is social media. And I think that social media is shifting and transforming as it should, because everything does. Everything changes. I don't remember all the scriptures in the Bible, but I know there's something in Ecclesiastes that says there's a time for change for everything. So things around social media definitely shifting and going in a new direction. And maybe there's like this. I still see that there could be growth, but maybe it's going to be new ones that are coming on board. Um, let's see here. Okay, so Mars has been retrograde, and it will be retrograde until was that February 24th? Oh, 23rd. So with Mars being retrograde, I mean, yeah, Mars going direct. Around that time, you have to remember the energy begins to really, increase. And so there could be violence, there could be people wanting to take action, there could be definitely, protest and those kinds of things. Um, there could be this energy around, I don't know, it's like heat and fire because Mars is a fiery planet, even though it's in Cancer. So maybe it's something like heat and fire is activating the water in the ocean or something like that. And there could just be a lot of activity and action happening on the ocean. But also, maybe there's something because it's home and family. So maybe there's something that will manifest. Maybe you've been working on something around your home, working on something with your family, and then it manifests at that time, as well as maybe some people will get deeper into ancestors or we're always in historical times, but there's something about history because Cancer has to do with history. Um, and also food. Cancer is a sign that has to do with food. So, something around food could be significant around that time. The other one I want to mention is I noticed here on February the 20th. Oh, excuse me. Let me start with Mercury is going to be visible. So planets, when they're close to the sun, they're invisible. And the further the sun, the distance between them and the sun, it's like when you look at this chart, Mercury and the sun, they're right together. Well, Mercury is zooming past the sun, and it's coming on down here into Pisces. And so the further it gets away from the sun, then it's like we can see it in the sky again. It gets rebirthed in the sky, and we have more access to this mercurial energy. And let's see here. So Mercury is this energy that has to do with communication, it has to do with the mind, all kinds of communication. So maybe if you're writing, that would be great. You'll feel stronger with that Mercury visible. It's the gig economy. So people working with the gig economy may find that uh, things are better for them during Mercury visible time. And, or, it's just they become more aware of something during that time. It could bring strength or it can bring revelation. That's how I'm going to say it. Geminis may feel stronger. Virgos may feel stronger, but Mercury stays invisible quite a bit because it's always pretty close to the sun. So, yeah. Let's see here. And then Saturn goes invisible because it's getting closer to the sun, or the sun is getting closer to Saturn. And so, and that's why when I opened it up, you saw it was on April because it's going to go visible on April 25th. So it's just like Jupiter and Mars being um, retrograde, invisible, it's weaker. You don't have access to its energy. The work that you need to do on the inside is more of like, how do you create more structure? How do you align yourself with the plan? Saturn is also a get real planet, so it might have you getting real with yourself about something in your life. And but Saturn wants you to be successful. Saturn wants you to be more mature. So whatever is happening, it can put a lot of pressure on you, and it's like you don't want to work hard, and Saturn is fussing at you because it's like, hey, you need to work harder. But it can help to develop that inner fortitude. It can help to develop the ability to be more patient. So it's an inside game. You're working with your inner Saturn when Saturn is invisible. Now, this is a social planet just like Jupiter. So in the world, all things ruled by Saturn will be weaker. I'm not going to lie. When I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I'm ready for this. But I have accepted that we don't exactly know how things are going to unfold. Everything is so unpredictable. I think some things are predictable. Some people will make accurate predictions, but after listening to an astrologer who's done this for several decades, he was like, well, when this happened, we predicted this, and that's not what happened. It was something else instead. He was like, essentially, we don't exactly know what's going to happen. It's like everybody kind of looks at it through their own filter. So on the one hand, Saturn has to do with government. So either it can weaken the government, but it's like, what does that mean? Does that mean it's not helping the people, or does that mean the people are now pushing back against the government? I think it'll be a little bit of both. Um, so because actually Saturn rules, I use it as what is called the ancient ruler. It rules Capricorn, which is the government, and it rules Aquarius, which has to do with the people, with its power to the people. So it could be a little bit of both. It could be a little bit of both. And it releases, Saturn is rules. And so it'll feel harder to enforce rules. Now that could be on the individual level, it could be on the personal or on the collective level. But again, we have to remember I want y'all to look at Saturn going invisible is like a new moon time. So during that time, I want you to be setting intentions around for personally your success, and what kind of success do you want to call in? Because eventually it's going to come back to where you can see it. All right? So it's kind of like we're in that waning phase, and it's going to go dark. It's going to be resting, but it's a time for us to be reflective, sow some seeds, so that when it does come back to where we can see it in the sky, you have sown seeds of success of boundaries. You know what? Something else I want y'all to do, if you feel something karmic is coming up for you during that time. So again, it's from February the 20th to is that April 25th. Um, I want you to take that time to ooh, what was I gonna say? Maybe it'll come back to me. But yeah, I want you to be sowing those seeds. How do you want to be how maybe there's a plan that you want to sow some seeds in, and maybe you need to listen to Saturn, and it will help you to understand what is it that you need to do to in order to make the plan happen. So it's a beautiful time for us to use, even though the energy is sleep and is dark. The other thing that happens is Saturn is receiving information and inspiration and wisdom from the sun. The sun is this creative energy. It's inspiring. I mean, it has like amazing wisdom and ideas. And so Saturn is communing with the sun at this time. And so, it's going to come out on the other side renewed and ready to do something new, something different, right? So, it's a lot of goodness is there. But yeah, if you do have um any karmic stuff coming up, you might want to go on ahead and settle it up. I don't even know where that came from, but that's what I have. So that's, some of what's going on with the planets in terms of like retrograde, being direct. Then we have Mercury and the Sun moving into, we have Venus moving into Aries. Don't let me forget Venus. So we're going to have Venus moving into Aries on the 4th. And as Venus moves into Aries, again, she's already covering the degrees of her retrograde. So she's moving forward. She's moving forward. She's gonna come in, and I can't remember where she's gonna start retrograding, but it's not past the 10th degree, I don't think. It's right around the 10th degree. Then she's gonna backtrack, go back into Pisces, and then she's gonna go back into Aries. So as she's moving forward since the end of January, we've been getting some clues as to what she is going to be focused on in our lives. Maybe something around relationships, something around money, appearance, emotions, health, well-being, as it relates to all things Pisces. Venus is what is called exalted in Pisces. So maybe there's some. Now, one thing I didn't say is Pisces has to do with miracles. And so maybe there's been some miracles that have been coming to you. And that is something that you want to be thinking about. Now, when she goes into Aries, she's got a whole different energy going on. She actually is not super comfortable in Aries. Um, Aries is like the number one. Venus is about two. She likes to be coupled up. Um, Aries is hot and fiery. She's air, which does complement fire, but she's not fire. She's also Earth, so because she rules Taurus and she rules Libra, so Earth and air. And she's grace and refinement. And Aries is raw and just like blunt AF, right? So when Venus comes into Aries, what she will begin to do now, another thing is values. We'll be looking at our values quite a bit with this Venus slowing down, something about Pisces, something about Aries. So we definitely will be looking at some of the values that we have maybe around our body. Venus in Aries always can help us to look at, well, how do I need to work out? How do I need to move my body? How do I get more muscle in my body? I think that it's a great sign for, women fighting for their rights or fighting for something unapologetically, because she's putting on the clothes of Aries, which means she's like, hey, I'm not afraid of you. Let's go. So it maybe we'll even hear a little bit more about women athletes during this time, because Venus is women. Aries is athletes. All the talk around WNBA for whatever reason gone. I remember being all into the soccer ladies. I'm trying my best to keep up with the gymnast, right? But maybe it's going to bring a highlight on women's athletes, women's sports, exercising, taking care of your body, that kind of thing. And Venus is very creative. Aries is a very creative sign because both of them are, well, Aries is the spring. So it can, Venus being in both Pisces and Aries, it definitely is like this energy around creativity, creative solutions. And Pisces has you dreaming about it, whereas Aries has you taking action around it. Maybe there's some action you need to take around money. You need to be more creative in what you're doing with your money. Um, Also, it can have us, some of us might be fighting a little bit more in our relationships. I believe Venus does have to do with love, but I just see her as relationship. So it could be any type of relationship. It definitely can make everyone feel more sensual because these two Venus being in Aries, Aries is definitely this sign of um I guess you could say more of like erotic. It's like raw sexuality, whereas Venus is sensuality. So it could definitely bring that as a topic that some people are dealing with. Venus retrograde can bring out some of, the people from your past. It can bring up past relationships, love relationships for sure, but also just topics around things with you and other people in the past. Maybe they need to get settled up. All this energy of new beginnings, it's like, what do you need to settle up before you start going into this new era, this new time in your life? So it can kind of help you to resolve some of that. So if it comes up, look at it as a gift that's happening. Okay. Oh, today the moon is right there with Neptune and Venus and the South Node. I have felt so sleepy. What is today? February 1st. I'm like, oh my gosh, I feel so sleepy. Oh, today is also in bulk, right? So maybe I'll just make a separate video about in bulk. But Ebook actually is about cleaning, cleansing, purifying. And I really, we've already talked about that with Oyeku. So make sure that you use this time, February 1st and 2nd, to do some cleaning, to do some cleansing and purification, as well as to work on your sowing seeds to manifest. So, yeah. Okay. Let's see here. And then the sun and Mercury, they're going to come down in here in Pisces. I've talked about Pisces quite a bit and what it stands for, because those will put it on our mind. It'll highlight something. And yeah, that's what I'll say about that. We're going to have a full moon in Leo on the 12th. It's going to be at 24 degrees of Leo. I personally love the sign of Leo. I love all the signs, to be honest with you. I love Leo. It's fun. Um, it's all about being courageous and loving, loving yourself and feeling good about yourself and what makes you unique and what makes you special. So really celebrate that and celebrate, completing something. Celebrate making progress, coming further down the path during that time also. But this could be a moon that is encouraging, fun, motivating, and so yeah, enjoy it. I'm grateful for signs like um Leo. I really am. I'm grateful for signs like Leo. Okay. And then we're gonna have a new moon in Pisces, which will be at 9 degrees. Let me just make sure. Am I looking at this right? Yeah, 9 degrees of Pisces. So yeah, it'll just be new beginnings around that topic. And, like I said, I've kind of talked about it quite a bit today. I don't want to talk about it too much, but just take advantage of that moon. Take advantage of that new moon because Pisces is so lit up right now. It is very lit up right now. Okay, so let's see here. Is there anything else I want to mention? Overall, just in terms of the transits, I would say the shorter transits are just kind of like what you expect. Um, yeah, the shorter transits are just kind of what you expect. What else do I want to tell you? It's hard to say this is just a normal month because we have, like I told you, that planetary meeting. I just don't think that the shorter transits, which are in pink, are going to be like creating more upheaval. I'm not saying that they won't have an impact, but it's just kind of like normal, which I'll talk about that from week to week. Okay, so I think what we'll do now is let's look at the readings. I'm going to Oh, I need to do this here. Okay. So, I'm pulling this first reading that I did is, and I hope I didn't pull too many cards. I'm going to kind of move through these pretty quickly. So, I don't actually know tarot a lot. Um those who know the Emperor card in tarot, I'm sure that says something to you right away. So let's look at what the Emperor says. So you can see the Emperor sitting with a child, and then there's the moon phases, it looks like, around the Emperor. So this says its traits are solidity, structure, maybe. A father sits on a throne with his son resting against him, comforted by his protector. He is the cosmic father operating with the principles of authority, rationale, and order. He relies on these ideas to create stability and security. So it's interesting that I talked quite a bit about Saturn today because this sounds very Saturnian. The emperor rules over the systems of law, discipline, strategy, and knowledge with paternal compassion and understanding. So, this is a little bit of that mix of Jupiter and Saturn. And I just think it's interesting that Jupiter comes back online on the 4th, and Saturn goes offline on the 20th. So, it's kind of like one is holding it down until the other one, is back online. So, um, he protects and commands using a grounded mind and clear vision. So, what it's asking you is what kind of leader are you? How do you use and honor, show, use, and honor your power and strength? And how do you protect yourself and those you hold near or dear? How do you do this physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually? So, that's something to think about. And it says here, um, what else do I want to say? To be in alignment, I'm not going to read everything here. It says, set firm work life boundaries, give yourself and others grace, and affirm, I speak my truth, taking a stand and acting on all that matters to me. This has to do with the solar plexus, which is right here. It's all about operating from your power. And it has to do with the root chakra, which is where your perineum is, right there between your sex organs and your anus, that little area in between. And that's all about your survival, like the basic needs being met. So maybe those are topics that will come up for some of you. Okay, next is the Tower card. And again, those who know tarot will be like, oh, wow. Okay, so the Tower card, the traits are destruction, disruption, no. And this one says a devastated shoreline is littered with trash, trees, and has been destroyed. Our world is in a dire strait. I'm just not reading this, y'all. So it's Saturnian right now, straight, no chaser. Our world is in a dire strait. Without strong protective action and time for healing of ourselves and the planet, it will be impossible for the world to recover. The tower serves as a warning of sudden change and the trauma that can come from it. BIPOC communities worldwide have practiced indigenous and traditional ways of living in symmetry with nature and her spirits, existing in harmony with the earth for millennia. White supremacy, the patriarchy, and capitalism, political and economic systems that favor greed and consumption over a tradition of conservation and balance have poisoned our planet. The old way is no longer viable. We can no longer live, eat, and interact without the health and stability of the environment in mind. So, we talked about the water. I think it's interesting that they have a shoreline on this card. Actually, the element for this one is fire. And what it's asking you to do is, do you view your dollar as a vote toward the world you believe in? Are you experiencing a breakthrough or a breakdown? And I think that goes back to the Oyeku. Sometimes a block is a blessing. All right. And we just need to be patient and trust in the natural order of things. All right. Can you see beyond your ivory tower? The way to align is realign with purpose and also walk at night. As long as it's safe, take a walk at night. And the affirmation is I am safe and divinely protected through all the challenges I face. Again, this is the solar plexus and the root, and I'm going to tell you why. It says when this energy is hot and fiery and active, it is all about these big changes, okay? It's all about this need to massive transformation, hard times. In the end, it's fear of change, fear of personal transformation, avoiding loss, delaying the inevitable warnings. So it's all about what do we need to do in feeling horrible is align with your purpose, okay? Align with your purpose. And again, the affirmation is I am safe and divinely protected through all challenges I face. Excuse me. And 6 of Knives. I know that y'all probably know what this means in tarot because maybe that's swords, but 6 of Knives is this one that I pulled. It's interesting when I pulled the cards from this deck, I thought this is very masculine. I have to pull from one of my goddesses decks. This is why I love the goddess decks because I'm like the deck. Now this has both in it. Don't get me wrong. Let's see here. Created by a woman. Okay, created by a woman. But sometimes some of this masculine energy is hard hitting. So let's see what the 6 of Knives says. Interesting. Rite of passage, transition. So this is the month where we will be experiencing that. It says a young man is rock climbing using knives to help him scale the face. He is ready to transition to something new. Where are you ready to evolve? Announce it to the universe. The climb represents putting in the work to grow and letting go of anything that encourages stagnation. I don't even think that we can be stagnant right now. I think the energy is just so dynamic that it's difficult to be stagnant. Be willing to be willing and open to explore new lands and shores. There's another word about shores there. You will benefit by going with the grain. So it's like, where do you feel yourself being pulled to? Or, pulled. The rock climber has come a long way while working toward a brighter future. The 6 of Knives reminds us that change often comes about after periods of discomfort. So I love that this card was pulled after that last one. It's never too late to step into a new existence. Allow others to lend a hand as you work toward the top. So make sure you get help where needed. The pack on the man's back. Okay, I don't maybe I don't know if I see the pack on his back, but anywho, the pack on the man's back symbolizes the weight we carry from heartbreak, conflict, or trauma. It's time to transform through healing. You have come too far now to turn back. All right. It's all about moving on, releasing all that no longer serves your higher self, entering to calmer waters, new environment or atmosphere, bringing much needed relief. It's all about unfinished business, lack of progression, resistance to change, holding on to baggage. And so, how do you align according to this oracle? Get out of your comfort zone. So, February is a time to step out of your comfort zone. And that's whatever that looks like for you. So, woo, I'm sorry I had to pull something from the I could look at those cards and tell this is going to be an intense reading. I need something else, baby. Now, I pulled from the African Goddess Rising deck, which can be hard hitting too, but I love this one. It is Mawu Lisa, and she's all about cosmic power. All right. And I just felt like I was supposed to pull two cards. Typically, I was going to pull one because I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a lot. But I pulled two. She's out of Benin. She's actually a mother, father, God, goddess. Mawu is the moon, the divine feminine. Lisa is the sun, divine masculine. They came together during a fawn eclipse to create cosmic power. Mm. And this is what she has to say. You are in the right place. Release the fear of your power. You are sacred. You are magic. Now that you know this, you can no longer pretend not to. So, what you need to do this month is rise up into your magnificence. Love and accept yourself fully to unlock everything you seek. Stop pretending to be less than who you are. Your real power has nothing to do with external gains. Cosmic power cannot be destroyed or lost. You were created by the same force that birthed the sun and the moon. And her declaration is, my power shines forth from within. All right. Woo, that felt good. Okay. And then the next one, I'm so happy to see this one is Ma'at. Ma'at brings balance, and she's all about, according to this oracle, giving and receiving. Interestingly, both of these cards have to do with air elements. Both of them have to do with the air. So that's the mind. It's actually connecting with other people. Air is connected with our relationships. Okay. This goddess is out of Egypt, and she represents alignment, truth, and balance. So right away, this is connected to that Jupiter coming back online after that retrograde. Woo! Ma'at, we call your energy into our world, into our sphere. She's the same energy as Jupiter. And so we'll be feeling this coming back online. Her name means order, as her father, which was the Egyptian sun god Ra, rose out of the chaos and put her in charge of divine justice. And she says to do this: reset your harmonic balance. You are out of alignment. And we talked about with the African tarot deck, how do we get back into alignment? Is that what it's called? No, Black Tarot deck, excuse me. So, how do we get back into alignment? Okay. The sacred scales command you to give and receive. If you receive without giving, that takes you out of puts you in alignment. If you give without receiving, you're out of alignment. So, giving and receiving is a spiritual law. So, how do you need to give and receive this month? Is also spell work. So give time, money, service, resources, and good vibes. If you're receiving if you're a generous giver, cultivate a practice of receiving. Receiving is a sacred feminine principle that makes many uncomfortable. So this is what you need to receive. Receive compliments, joy, support, pleasure, friendship, money, and love. They're all the same to spirit. And the goddess declaration here is, I give easily and freely. I receive freely and easily. So, yeah, it's that I kind of think about with this Pisces energy that is just going to be so predominant this month. It's just at the backdrop of everything because Pisces is definitely about compassion. And what is compassion? It's about wanting to relieve the suffering of another, right? And so, we definitely need to be going out of our way to offer compassion to people, and we need to be stepping into our worth and value around receiving. If somebody offers us something, we need to receive it. Just the other day, my example is the other day, I was feeling just so frustrated about things that I'm hearing about what's happening in the US government. And I was just feeling like a little bit in despair. And I was just like, Spirit, I need you to give me a sign. I need a sign. I need a sign. I didn't even specify what the sign was, but Spirit knew what I meant. And the next morning, my husband was like, I was like, I don't feel well. Emotionally, I just feel off. And he was like, do you want me to just, massage you a little bit, which he never offers that. It's not that, he doesn't want to or whatever, but it was just at a odd time in the morning. And I could tell he really was like, I just want to do something nice for you to help you feel better. And I was like, no, that's okay. Cause it took me a minute to get up and get moving. And I was like, I'm already up and I'm moving. If I get that massage, I'm not going to be able to function. And then I thought, are you crazy? This is spirit sending you a gift of someone caring about you. Are you going to reject it? I said, no, I am going to receive it. And if I can't wake up, it's just my husband's fault. So it's like, what do you need to receive? How do you need to be cared for yourself? Don't overgive right now. Even Saturn is saying, have boundaries around that. Okay. But yes, this is what I have to offer to you. And it is my hope that I have shared something that makes you feel more grounded, more settled. Make sure you get my book because the book doesn't really talk per se about like what the astrology is. It's more of a guide to help you know what to think or things to think about, how to journal, affirmations, just things you can do to support you all year long. Okay. So I want you to use that book or anything that helps you. We have this energy of wisdom. We have Ma'at, we have Jupiter speaking this month. These energies are pretty strong. And so, what's the wisdom? Do your readings, do your own personal readings, pull a card. Every time I pull from my oracle deck, sometimes I just feel so stressed and scared. And then I'll just say, okay, I'm just gonna do a reading and pull a card. Or sometimes I do three. And I look at it and it's like, okay, I that's just what I needed to help me to feel better in this moment. Or maybe there's a book you want to read, some wisdom text, something where it's higher wisdom and it helps you to expand. Oh, you know what? This just came to me. And I might make a separate video, so I'm gonna play around with it here. But this energy of my aunt is how do I say it? It's kind of like complementary, I guess you could say, to the energy of it's called Sebek. So my aunt is like Sagittarius and Sebek is like Gemini. Sebek only sees like little pieces of information. It never has the full story. And Jupiter and my aunt, they're the big picture. And it's like all the little episodes fit within the big picture. All the small little details form to create the big picture. And one of the things that I think is important for us all to understand is as we live day to day, we are seeing things very myopically. And the more you can have yourself zoom out so that you can see the big picture, then the little minuscule things that we deal with day to day, it makes you feel kind of like, okay, this is just this one day. This is just this one moment. And it fits within this greater picture. And sometimes when we keep our eye on the big picture, all the small little things in between actually make sense, especially when we're thinking about or reading like Oyeku, which is like, hey, all things are going to come to an end. Respect the natural order of things. And so when we see like something's coming apart, something's not working, it's like, well, you know what? Within the big picture, it's a part of a greater cycle. That is astrology. Astrology is just cycles. And so we are in the middle of like the ending of a lot of cycles, and we're going to start these new beginnings of new cycles. And we can see it that way, then all the things that look so horrible in between day to day, it's kind of like, mm, makes sense given where we are in the cycle. But it's also a very intuitive time. Stay open to hearing from spirit. Okay. Stay open to hearing from spirit. So this is Tyra Omilade. I appreciate you all so, so much. Again, if you are wanting to go deeper and hear more of what I share and get some additional tools, please consider joining the Soul Alchemy Circle membership. It's only $9.99, I think it is, per month. It doesn't cost much at all. I'm wanting to make it affordable. But yeah, join me there, and there's more that I'm going to be adding in, and it will support you. It will buoy you. It will help you to continue to keep the perspective around what is happening in the world and how do you navigate your life with all of that. So I'm going to put on a little bit of music, and then we're going to just dance it up out of here. I said I was going to put my little belly dance music on. Okay, thank you all so, so much for watching. I appreciate you, and I'm wishing you the best February yet, even with some of the challenging sounding readings and astrology that we see. We're going to do our best to make it our best yet. All right. And part of the way we're going to do that is we do need to make sure that we are connected to other people. So stay connected with me here. Join me in the Inspired Goddess community, my newsletter. You can go to my website, goddessbodymindspirit.com, get on my newsletter. But also, whatever the communities that you're a part of, we definitely need a lot of human connection and contact with people who have like minds. And, we are giving and receiving. We need that right now. All right, Queens, thank y'all so much. Peace and love, blessings of the goddess and the ancestors be upon you now and always. You and yours now and always. Peace. I can't hear it. I put my earbuds in, my headphones on so I can hear it with you. Oh, yeah. Okay, this is not my belly dance music, which is why I couldn't hear it. Oh, this is some new music I downloaded. Yeah, I like this. Oh, this is the Piano. I guess this is what we're going to go out on because I'm not getting ready to change it. You ready? Come on. Hey. It's smooth, y'all. It's Pisces, y'all. We need music. Come on. Come on. Hey. Got to work those hips. Come on. Bring it. It may be at the end. Let's just see what's going to happen. This is out of South Africa. I'm a piano. Ready? Let's go. Oh, okay. I am going to change it. It was finishing up from the beginning. Y'all know I love me some belly dance. Hey, I can't sit down. Hey. Hey, baby, we gotta have some fun. Okay. That's how we're gonna have to do it. All right, y'all, I'm gonna stop. I want y'all to have a good day. I'm gonna leave the music playing. If you feel it, kind of head and move a little bit, okay? Hey, power to the people.